We're not loopy this week. We're doing just fine.
I don't know.
Well, it's not 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. It's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.
Aaron's not good with math, like he said.
Exactly.
All right. I want to thank you, to whomever you are listening, for opening your minds to receive extra knowledge nuggets each week. It means a lot to us. It does. It really does. And I want you to know that. Also, before we start, since you are a Patreon subscriber, remember that you get priority in topic suggestions.
So feel free to shoot those suggestions on over to us by email, Instagram, Discord direct message, or you can write us a letter and send it to our P.O. box. Okay? And hey, if you're gonna send us a suggestion, make sure to put in the subject line of the email or at the start of the message, topic suggestion. That way we can label it. We're starting to label our emails so that we can be organized, because since the influx of the emails for sticker requests, we've we've been trying to organize everything and make sure it goes smoothly, you know? Anyways, so today's episode is over adrenochrome. We'll talk about what is adrenochrome, and then we'll go into some strange facts and findings, theories, and then of course wrap it all up with our own personal thoughts and theories. So with that being said, Dan, are you ready?
Maybe.
All right, let's get into today's episode.
A mystical psychedelic that has been around for ages.
It has been used by politicians, individuals in Hollywood, and the global elite.
This chemical is harvested from the blood of frightened children and then consumed in satanic rituals.
This is the darkest drug of them all, adrenochrome.
Now, before we dive into the theories surrounding adrenochrome and the whatnot, we're going to first tell you what adrenochrome is. So Aaron, can you start that off for us?
Absolutely. Okay, so of course, you know, if you're into conspiracies, then you've probably heard of the word adrenochrome. But Dan, do you actually know what it is? Like if I was like, hey man, what's adrenochrome? What would you say?
I have no clue.
Well, you didn't have a clue until this episode, right?
I didn't have a clue until I joined the podcast. I mean, once I joined it, I knew that.
Okay, yeah. So if you were into, conspiracies or theories, or you're a free thinker, or maybe you've came across this word, and you're kind of familiar with adrenochrome. But for those of you who haven't heard about it, we just want to give you a quick warning that this episode will possibly have some triggering topics. So please take caution. We love you and we care about your mental health, so just keep that in mind and letting you all know ahead of time. Okay? All right, so let's talk about what adrenochrome is. So it is a member of a class of chemicals known as aminochromes that is produced by the oxidation of adrenaline, or epinephrine, in mammals. Now this chemical concentrates in the body during certain times of extreme fear, or just, terror, or you're scared, or you're frightened, or somebody jumped out of the corner at you and you're like, whoa, bitch, get out of my face, You got adrenochrome running through your blood.
Doesn't sound like you were very fearful and terror right there.
No. That's more like a, hey, slow down, I got my sandwich in my hands. You almost made me drop it.
My croissant.
Yeah. So Dan, what's the purpose of this chemical?
The purpose of this compound, from what scientists say, is both to optimize the adrenaline response of muscles and nerves of the body, while also protecting bodily tissues and organs from the rigors of the adrenaline rush, acting as both buffer and optimizer to accelerate the adrenalized flight or fight mechanism of the human fear response for survival. This chemical has been known by modern science since way back around the 1930s. And if you care to know the molecular formula for this, it is C9H9NO3. If you looked at this molecular formula and actually looked at an image of how they made it, people call it the white rabbit.
Why does it look like a rabbit?
If you flip it around, it actually looks like a rabbit with ears and like a little tail and such.
Here, can you post a picture of it inside here? And we'll post that picture up on the Patreon for anyone who want to take a look at it.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why they used that picture of a rabbit, but
Okay. Follow the white rabbit, Matrix reference. Okay. Yeah. So take a look at that picture. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think. All right. So this is interesting and all, right? But what does it do, this chemical, this adrenochrome, that makes it so desirable, supposedly, to the elites for wants to take it? Well, me and Dan, we did some sleuthing. And explain what sleuthing is, Dan.
fuck if I know. I've never heard.
I never heard of sleuthing either. Let's look it up. Sleuthing.
Dude, I was impressed. I was just like, oh, damn, that's a good word.
Sleuthing, which is, if you don't know what it is, it's a noun, and it means careful investigation into a crime or a mystery. New word for you. I just learned it the other day.
Oh.
All right, so me and Dan did some sleuthing on the interwebs, and there's some facts that you need to know so that you can fully understand this, okay? Now, we're gonna hit you with some knowledge right quick again, all right? So like we said, this adrenochrome is produced naturally through the oxidation of adrenaline by natural enzymes of blood. But this adrenochrome can also be synthetically made.
Secondly, adrenochrome does not reduce excitation. You know, the feeling of being excited. I know it looks weird. It sounds weird, Aaron.
That sounds so weird. Excitation, I'd say being super excited.
I looked it up and I was just like, there's no way else it's said that way, but it is. But yeah, you know the feeling of being excited. You don't lose the temporary connections like with the use of LSD.
What do you mean?
All right, if that confuses you, you're not the only one, because when I first read that, it confused the hell out of me.
Okay, so what does it mean? Like, explain LSD to us then.
All right, so LSD can alter the state of your mind, and it binds to specific brain receptors and alters how the brain responds to serotonin, a neurotransmitter that regulates your emotions, moods, and perception. That right there is what the American Addiction Center says anyways about it.
Okay, so LSD, it takes the serotonin and it regulates that somewhat. It binds to specific brain receptors and alters how our brain responds to serotonin, and then eventually you lose those connections.
More so you lose, I'm just gonna say probably you lose connection to the real world.
Oh, okay. All right. So like hallucinating or,
Pretty much.
being far out, man. All right, sweet, cool.
That's what I'm gonna assume it means.
Okay, so that's the scientific part. But then you got this main conspiracy and effect surrounding adrenochrome, that the elites use this chemical to help them live longer, become immortal, all right? And this is where it gets bad, is because of who they collect this adrenochrome from and how they do it. And to extract this adrenochrome, they need it to build up in the individual so that they can harvest it. And how they get this adrenochrome to be built up is that they cause the person to have extreme fear and terror, and it kind of multiplies the adrenochrome in the blood, and then, according to the conspiracy, they extract it.
The people that they prefer to use is young children. And the reasoning for that is supposedly their pineal glands aren't as calcified by the fluoride that they put in the water and the other toxins in our food and environment. So, considering they haven't been alive long enough, they haven't had all these toxins in their body, so it's not polluted, you could say.
Okay, it makes sense because there is fluoride in our body
Yeah.
from the tap water we drink. And there's a couple papers that were published that, state it's not good to drink fluoride. But anyway, so how do they get it from these children if they have to put them in fear and terror? What do they do?
So, From inhumane sex rituals to
Oh, Jesus Christ.
pretty much to worship nightmarish demon gods specifically, satanic rituals, specifically designed to create the maximum terror in a child's body, to overload their blood with adrenochrome. It's terrible.
Yeah, that is. And apparently, when this is done, the blood must be harvested quickly. And, oh my God. And how they do this, and just a warning, this gets pretty gruesome. How they do this is they puncture their skull with a needle right in the center of their forehead, where the third eye would be located, or where the pineal gland is located at. Which the pineal gland, there is such a thing as a pineal gland. It's real. It's not made up. It's not a made up word. It's a real thing. So they stick that needle inside there, and that's where they supposedly do it. Now there is a rumor to this rumor that they actually extract it not there, but at the base of the neck and spinal column. Which there's another rumor to that if they don't consume it fresh, that they could actually store it frozen, or kind of like refrigerate it, so they don't have to drink it right away. They can kind of do it later.
Kind of sickening.
Vampire, man. Vampire-ish.
Right. Or just straight up pedophile-ish.
Yeah.
Like all the, pedophile elites.
Pretty much.
You got Epstein in his black book with a list of names in it, which, honestly, if y'all haven't listened to that episode, you need to go listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned adrenochrome in it. Probably did.
I don't know. I know in the Pizzagate episode we did.
Yeah.
We mentioned adrenochrome. And we talk about that, I think, later on during Strange Facts and Findings?
Yep.
All right, so moving forward. So that's kind of like some rumors about the elite's use with it. But we started looking at some actual studies that have been done with the use of adrenochrome. And there was one done in 1939 that was a study that perfusion of adrenochrome was found to regenerate and actually restart a frog's heart, bringing it back to life. And just a little knowledge nugget real quick. This 1939 study, with it bringing the frog back to life, it made adrenaline application in a heart attack patient's standard of care to this day. Now, not to be confused with the creation of synthetic adrenaline in 1901, I believe. But y'all can fact check me on that, because I'm not 100% sure. Just going off the top of my dome here. So there you go. It can restart the heart of a frog. Regenerate and restart. My bad.
It's such a weird study.
I wonder if they're going to start... Oh, I don't even know if I want to say this.
I'm interested now.
COVID? Rumors of COVID doing damage to the heart? Maybe it's a way for the elite, to say, hey...
To test it?
Yeah, we're going to damage all of y'all's hearts. Now you need to do what we do. You need to take some adrenochrome.
Ooh.
I don't know. We'll save that for later. Sorry. All right, so tell us about this other study that was done.
All right, another Belgian study in 1946. Doctors were able to use a perfusion, like Aaron said. If y'all don't know what that means, it's just, means the passage of fluid through like the blood vessels.
Sorry for not explaining it earlier. We have smart listeners. I just assumed that they knew what we meant by that.
They probably do. They're probably just like, why are you telling us this? We already know. Doctors were able to use a perfusion of adrenochrome to bring an ear of a rabbit that was intentionally frostbitten back to life with only a few exposures. This restored vascularity and nerve stimulus response to previously necrotized tissue.
So it actually regenerated the tissue and brought it back. Wow. Okay, so this study actually helped doctors prove a hypothesis that the application of oxidized adrenaline, or aka adrenochrome, had the capacity of restoring, the nervous response of, to stimuli in the rabbit's damaged ear. That, like I said, they intentionally did 4 weeks prior to that experiment. Or like Dan said, not me. Which, we have a link to that study. And you can check it out for yourself. We'll post it up like we always do. Take a look at it.
I feel bad for that rabbit though. 4 weeks they
purposely
made that rabbit get frostbite on its ear.
Yeah, well, hey, You know what? It's got its ear back. That's all that matters. Well, it's probably got some, PTSD.